The next person, the next awardee is truly one of the most unreasonable people I've ever seen in my life. Because this guy actually thinks he can make a difference in the lives of inner city kids and adults. And just because you're poor does not mean you're in poverty. There's a difference. And Bob Woodson has spent his entire life trying to make life better for others. He's been a figurative trailblazer and a literal trailblazer. And you talk about someone who's a true candle. I've seen Bob just give and give and give and give. And even when people smack him around, he's still giving and giving and giving. And this guy like the Energizer Bunny. And I think he probably gets high off of just being able to help people and knowing that he's making a difference. And he's done a lot of work with the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. And Bob has said, as Bob often says, I've taken Paul Ryan to more inner city than any member of the Black Caucus. Now just think about the irony of that. The members of the Black Caucus represent black districts, but yet you got a white Speaker of the House from Wisconsin spending more time in the inner city of black America than the people that claim to represent these people. Well, y'all don't hear me. Come on, I feel like I'm in church today. So to receive this 2016 Black America for a Better Future 2016 Trailblazer Award, Robert Woodson.
Thank you, David. Again, giving honor to God and my wife of 38 years. I'm permanently married to her. I truly believe that when the good book says, as you've done unto the least of these, you have done it unto me. And I have spent my life dwelling among those who are at the bottom. 80% of my closest friends are ex-something. When Eleanor Roosevelt insisted that the Navy train blacks as naval officers, because we didn't have any then. So they selected 13 professional men, and the Navy trained them, but they were decided they were going to give them in 8 weeks, but they would give white candidates in 16 weeks. So when these brothers found out about it, they didn't file a complaint or complain. What they did was they put blankets up at the windows of their barracks, and they studied all night. And at the end of the 8 weeks, when they were tested, they scored in the 92nd percentile. Well, the Navy said they must have cheated. So then they waited 2 weeks and separated them and tested them individually in the presence of 2 other officers. The result was they scored in the 95th percentile. Is the attitude that my grassroots leaders take when it comes to confronting problems in the inner city. And so they come in, and we were able to reduce violence by supporting their efforts. And it's that stick-to-it attitude that we refuse to give up. When white people were at their worst, we were at our best. In Baltimore in 1865, when 1,000 blacks were fired from the docks for striking, we didn't march on Washington and demand jobs, peace, and freedom. We went to our banks, our churches, and borrowed the money and started our own railroad, the Chesapeake, Maine Dry Dock Railroad Company, that operated for 18 years from Baltimore to Maine. When we refused access to hotels, every major city had their own hotel. The Wallahaji in Atlanta, the St. Teresa in New York, the St. Charles in Chicago, and on and on and on. We had a real estate company in 1925 that had 200 employees in Harlem. This is the history that Raynard is trying to reclaim. Our young people must understand we didn't get off of slave ships and go into the plantation and then the welfare. All right. But all all of us, Rainer, must be like that old farmer who had his horse, and there was a car stuck in the mud. So he hooked up his horse to the car, and he said, "Pull Joe, pull Bill, pull Pete." And the car moved. And so the driver gets out and said, "Why did you call 3 names and there's only 1 horse?" He said, "He's blind. If he knew he was doing it by himself, he'd have never done it."
You can always count on Bob for a good story. But a lot of